Here we are. New set. We finally did it.
It's finally up.
It's finally up.
Yes.
Took us, what, months?
Yeah, thank you guys for bearing with us. Our audio-only reviews.
Yeah, they were barely getting us by.
They were.
But we were working hard on this. It's done. It's up. Now we can get into our first review.
We'll probably make some further tweaks.
Yeah, we'll make some tweaks here and there. There's a couple little things that we can adjust. But we're pretty amped up because we just got out of The Flash. And we came right back here to film our first episode on the new set. We were so excited about this movie.
Yeah, it was great. This movie was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You're strapped to your parachutes.
Where's yours? What didn't you like about it?
Man, where to begin? I think it's easier to discuss the things that I did like about it.
It's a much shorter list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the film is about the multiverse, and the opening title, literally the first thing you see, the Warner Brothers logo. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
They did like all the alternate
From the
Warner
older
Brothers
movies.
from the older
Yeah,
movies.
that was kind of cool.
Different time period.
Yeah.
That was kind of neat.
Yeah. It set a pretty good tone for the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. That's
Pre-movie,
it.
just
That's
the
it.
title sequence. And then after that, it was just trash.
The first, 30 seconds of the film, Mr. Barry Allen walks into
Mr. Barry Allen.
Mr. Barry Allen
Yes.
walks into a coffee shop, and then immediately we are introduced to our first male character aside from Barry Allen.
Mr. Barry Allen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's got a questionable lisp.
His wrists were a little limp.
A little.
Yeah. And that kind of set the tone for every male character in that movie.
I thought to myself, well, to be fair, he is kind of working in a coffee shop, so.
He's a barista.
But then every guy,
Yeah, just about.
except for Keaton.
I'm Batman.
Yeah, that really set the tone. So let's just get the Ezra Miller shit out of the way.
Yeah.
Ezra is the worst part of this movie, playing the character of Barry. So Barry is the worst part of this movie. And it is a movie about Barry.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And when you have your main character just be so unlikable
and insufferable.
and insufferable, every moment he is on screen, you just want to reach in and just punch him.
Did you want to fight? Is that the deal?
Well, to add further insult to injury, there's two of him.
And then there's two of him.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So it's just double the fun.
Yeah.
It takes all of the surrounding characters to make it kind of interesting, and even then, most of that falls flat.
You haven't seen Justice League yet.
No, I have not.
He sucks in that movie.
I would imagine so.
In both the theatrical version and the Snyder cut, he's awful.
I feel stung by that.
Those movies, though, are tame in comparison to how he is
They
in
just
this.
let him loose in this one.
They just said, hey, you do that,
Yeah.
that,
No,
that, that
I-
weird shit that you do,
I have-
just do
Yeah.
it. Just
I've seen scenes.
Yeah.
I've actually seen most of his scenes from those movies just because in research and looking up scenes. I haven't seen the complete films. He was insufferable, but he just seemed less working with a director who was like, no, this is my vision, shut up and just say your couple lines and we're done.
Right.
Now, plot-wise, they tried to do, I guess it was like a mix of Flashpoint,
Kind of.
but after seeing it, like from the trailer, you think like, oh, okay, they're doing Flashpoint. They pulled some elements, but then Flashpoint kind of focuses around not just the death of his mom, of Barry's mom, but who kills the mom.
Yeah.
In this, they make a big point about like, oh, it was the dad, but he didn't actually do it. And Barry tries to go back in time and
Right.
stop his mom from dying.
But the mystery aspect,
But the mystery
who
of
killed my
who
mom,
actually killed the mom
yeah.
is just left completely unanswered.
Yeah.
They don't touch on it at all.
Yeah. They're planning on a future
Oh,
film.
yeah, okay.
Like that's gonna fucking happen.
No, not after this. And
I don't know, man.
the movie just came out yesterday. We're recording this on Friday. Thursday, the previews. I think it did okay,
It's underperforming.
but it is underperforming.
Yeah.
And they lowered the expectations of
Yeah.
what they were expecting to pull in opening weekend. So,
Could change by the time this gets released, but as of now, it is underperforming.
and most of the people in the theater with us, younger people as well, were just like laughing
There were
at how bad it was.
There was one dude in back of us, and I quote, this is exactly what he said. I'm not making this up. He said, I'm going to go and watch Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse again because I actually want to watch a good movie.
Yes.
That
him and his
sums
friends.
it up.
Yeah,
him and his friends, they were just laughing.
They were laughing the whole time.
One of the worst things you can do is you're sitting there, you're watching a movie, and you absolutely fucking hate it, but it's like the crowd likes it. It's like the worst feeling.
No, this we were not alone.
You know, I got that with Dark Knight Rises. I fucking hated that movie, but everyone, like the scene at the end, I like your real name, Robin.
You should use your full name. I like that name. Robin.
And then like the whole fucking audience just cheered, and I was like, oh my god, shut the fuck, this sucks.
Yeah.
But I was like the outlier there. Everyone in the audience is on the same fucking page.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do some elements from Flashpoint, but they got to go their own way and make it weird and stupid.
Yeah.
And try and pull elements that the Flash TV show did so much better, just way better. Everything about that show is so much better. I know you've only seen like
the first two episodes.
I watched like the first 6 seasons. I never finished the show just because it's like 10 seasons long.
It was too CW for me.
Yeah, it's a little CW.
That being said, I would rather watch that shit than what we just saw.
It was done at a time, like if you go back to the Smallville days, that's when you're lucky to get like a little bit of CGI thrown in to show he's got some superpowers over the course of the episode. The Flash show was during the time when you had the Arrowverse and all that stuff, and they actually put a little more effort into making sure there was a good balance between the visual effects and telling a good story. And the show nailed it.
Plus, visual effects just got cheaper to do on lower scale, so you were able to show more on television
Exactly.
shows.
That's why like the evolution of the CW shows. And watching this movie makes me want to go watch the show again because of how good those early seasons were.
What I saw, the first 2 episodes, were miles better than the piece of shit that we just watched.
Yeah.
I said this in our trailer reaction video for The Flash, but the Flashpoint paradox is like the perfect opportunity for Warner Brothers, who has this horrible track record doing DC films, to reset it.
Sure.
It's the perfect opportunity.
It's literally perfect.
Yeah.
And they just blew it.
They did not seize it. They just let it dissipate like a fart in the wind.
There was nothing to stop them from doing even just an end credit sequence or the last scene of the film where they just pull a few James Gunn elements into it. Whatever he's planning on doing for future movies in his new plan, he could have just brought in some of, like, they've already got casting going for some of these projects.
Yeah.
Have a couple of those characters pop up, and now, oh no, he's changed a couple things when he's come back to the future, and it just leads right in.
They kind of did that, but they did it for jokes.
They did it for gags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
they were stupid.
At the end, Bruce Wayne shows up, and it's fucking George Clooney.
Because anyone out there clamoring to see George Clooney come back, another Batman and Robin go, Mr.
Dude,
One and Done.
They talked to Christian Bale, and he's like, I'm not fucking doing this.
No! I'm not doing this. Why would I do this? Call Clooney.
And Clooney was like,
he's not doing anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I'll do it. Just here's my bank info. Send me the transfer. Yeah, but the whole Flashpoint paradox, they touched on some of this stuff, but then the things they did choose to bring into it, they changed.
Yeah.
So instead of getting Thomas Wayne, you get Michael Keaton. And Michael Keaton, he's not in like a ton of the movie.
No.
But when he is in it, it's cool to see him again as the character, but it's still not enough.
Keaton did his best to be as professional as possible.
Yes.
And he's Keaton. He's great.
Yeah, he's the high point of the film.
Absolutely. When you see him, it's awesome seeing him again.
Yeah.
And it's like, it does feel like he hasn't really skipped a beat. Like he still does, even if he's phoning it in, which I don't think he necessarily is.
It didn't feel like he was phoning it in. It just felt like he was handed a shitty script.
Yes, but I'm just saying, it's still, he's such a professional that it didn't feel like he skipped a beat.
Yeah.
That being said, though, I'm with you. It just didn't gel well, because the cool thing about the whole multiverse thing is like, okay, Keaton's Batman is in this, which means that this is in the Burton universe.
Yeah.
Right? So you could have done some really cool visual things with that.
Right.
Like when they go to the suburbs, it could have looked like Edward Scissorhands suburbs or something like that.
It would have been cool.
You know? But give that universe a visual Tim Burton palette.
Right.
But they didn't do any of that.
No.
So it just
They did a little like with the mansion when the Barrys come in and
they recreated the Wayne Manor pretty well.
Yeah.
Like the kitchen that they were in was pretty much the the king of the Wicker people. That hallway was in it.
Yeah.
Which was cool to see.
Yeah, you get to see, and then they have like little moments, like the Bat Cave is like very 80s looking, but there's some like modern updates in there.
Yes.
So they could have taken that Burton
the
world
Burton look,
and expanded it into...
made it look more modern.
Yeah. Instead, they step out of Wayne Manor, and they're just back in the Snyder. They're just back in whatever that verse is.
So just missed opportunity.
Yeah. And one of the things I really like about the show is when they do the whole angle of Barry going back trying to save his mom, they focus heavily on who killed his mom. And then it becomes this big reveal and everything. And the way they set this up, you think they're going to go that direction.
It doesn't, though.
And it doesn't at all. Instead, like, Zod shows up. It's like, okay. They were like, who's not doing anything right now? Well, we'll give Michael Shannon a call. You know?
But Zod shows up, but there's really no main villain. You see the main villain at one point in the very beginning of the movie. Seriously, like for 3 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Knocks Barry's doing the Speed Force. He knocks him out of it. Then that's what brings Barry into the Burton verse, basically.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Then you don't see him until literally the very, very end of the movie. So there's no
Zod doesn't really
antagonist presence.
He doesn't care or know about the Flash. He's there to serve the purpose he served from Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And also serve the purpose of forcing Barry to realize that it's futile to keep doing this over and over, like trying to save everything. And, things got messed up, people died. We'll just go back in time again and we'll try again. Didn't work again. We'll just go back in time again. And you just keep doing it. It's like you keep just smashing your head against the wall and nothing is working. And that's, the crux of Barry figuring out what he needs to figure out in the film. Come to the conclusion that I can't actually change the past. I have to just accept the pain I live with and go back to the present and live with it. That's his growth in the film, more or less. But it's so roundabout how they focus on it.
Like even you just explaining the story and like thematically what he learns, his arc essentially.
His arc.
When you explain that sounds good. The movie does not do a good job.
It's an arc that this film chose to add all this extra shit in instead of just really honing in on that story.
Yeah.
Like they could have focused on who actually killed his mom if they wanted to do it like the way they did it in the show and tighten the story up. It would have been a much better story. Instead, they got to expand it. They got to bring in Zod, and they got to bring in Kara. And Kara.
My name is Kara.
Am I saying it right? Kara. Who I thought was going to be annoying as shit the whole time, but she was actually one of the least offensive parts of the movie.
Yes.
She didn't bother me at all.
So aside from the Warner Brothers logos in the beginning, she's the only other thing about the movie where I was like,
she was fine.
Yeah, she was okay.
Yeah, she shows up.
I thought I was going to hate her.
Right.
But she wasn't bad.
But she shows up, and she's just this bitter character who hates humanity because doesn't hate humanity, but she just doesn't see a need to help them because they locked her up.
Yeah.
Kind of what they did with Clark in the actual Flashpoint story. And then they let her out, and then Barry's like, come on, some people are still good. And she's like, yeah, I guess you're right. I'll help you. Very, very, very
what
loose
she was
arc
given,
there.
though, she was fine.
She was fine. What she was given, it was it was very basic, and she did a fine job with it.
Some of her acting was a little,
but you know what?
I thought the character was going to be annoying, but she wasn't.
The character was not annoying,
right?
Which was fine. So you got Keaton in there. Best part. Kara was okay. Michael Shannon needed a paycheck, I guess.
Yeah, Michael Shannon was like, so I'm just gonna sit here, and you're gonna scan my face and put it on CG
the old
body.
Zod body, right? Yeah.
So I don't have to move or anything,
Right.
I get paid, right?
You guys will take care of that for me.
Are you people fucking retarded?
That's all he did.
Yeah.
Just regurgitated exactly what he was from Man of Steel.
The film kind of shows Man of Steel sequences, but this time it just looked really shitty.
It just looked worse.
Everything looks worse. The special effects in this movie are so fucking terrible.
They're so goofy.
Nothing. This is the problem that I had with Ant-Man, but this movie does the same thing. No longer are the filmmakers trying to make things look real.
No,
they don't
especially
care.
The
Flash's suit is fake, like half the time.
The opening sequence where he saves all those babies from that building, and it's like, yeah, it's really difficult to show the Flash in action without doing copious amounts of CGI. But then that scene is intercut with Ben Affleck's Batman chasing after these guys, and he looked like he was made of plastic.
Yes.
Like smooth,
yes,
textureless plastic.
Yeah.
That's how bad he looked.
Everyone looked that way. I mean, even when he was saving the babies looked like shit.
Yeah, everything looked
terrible.
Terrible. Then they get to that scene on the bridge, and we get another little cameo, a little Justice League cameo, when Wonder Woman shows up, and she's got her little lasso of truth to save the day. Then they did the same thing in Shazam too. Like her boot steps in, and you hear, and like the same. It's like it's so tired at this point.
She looks fucking bored.
She looks bored. She's just like, oh, I guess I'll pop up in another cameo in another DCEU movie, because I ain't getting another one after the debacle of 1984. But everybody swears, no, she wasn't fired. She wasn't fired. No. They just canceled her movie. It's the same thing. Whatever. They kind of save a lot of the cameo stuff beyond, like, Keaton's not a cameo. He's a big part of the movie, but they save a lot of the actual cameo stuff for the very final sequence when all the multiverse worlds are crashing together, and then you get the George Reeves, you get the Christopher Reeves, you get
the Nicolas Cage, Tim Burton Superman,
the Nick Cage Superman that we never got.
Now, mind you, when we're talking about this, some of you might think, "Oh, that sounds really cool. Oh, you get to see all these different Supermen."
Actually, I was like, "Hey, look, there he is finally on screen." Nick Cage is Superman, but it just looks like so bad. It looks so bad.
It looks fucking fake. Awful.
Yeah.
This is the most horrendous CG job I've ever seen. Like, it was passable to these people. They watched.
What was this? Like a $240 million? I don't even know what this movie cost, but it had to be over $200 million. And the CG is just somehow getting worse and worse. Things just don't look real anymore.
I don't know how the studio watched the cut and they were like, "Oh, that's good. It's passable.
Good. Yeah, let's get that out there.
Yeah,
we'll put that out. Yeah."
I hope this movie doesn't do well.
No.
I fucking hated it.
It was like, you must have turned to me like 4 or 5 times during this movie, like, "This movie sucks. This movie's like really bad." I'm just laughing, like taking notes.
No, man, because like the trailer sells you on Keaton being in it, and like so
it has to, because why else would anyone go see this movie? They're not going for Ezra Miller.
I'm waiting for Keaton to come in. He doesn't come into like well into it, and then he finally gets there, and it's just kind of like.
And he's recluse, old man.
Oh, of course, every hero has to be weak, pathetic.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he was weak, but he was just kind of pathetic.
No, but they have to convince him to join the cause. And then, like, when he does, like, he kicks ass. He does, like...
Well, yeah, a CG version of him kicks ass. A CG version of Batman. And the stunt guys kick ass.
Oh, yeah. Not Keaton himself, but the character actually, kicks some ass. And it's like, oh, look, it's Batman. But now he's surrounded by these annoying modern characters that are just sad.
Right.
It's really sad seeing Keaton's Batman flanked by 2 Ezra Millers. And Keaton's just like, well, I'm getting paid. I don't give a shit.
I'm getting paid, right?
Okay, so the scene in the beginning with the building with the babies, when he's like, okay, I gotta like save all these falling babies now in super slow-mo, and then like some song comes on, and it's like, it reminded me of that scene from X-Men with Quicksilver.
Okay.
When he saves all the kids from the exploding mansion, except I love that scene.
Well, okay, so this is the problem with that scene in general.
Yeah.
It's already been done, it's been done better.
Definitely better.
Again, it's just symptomatic of DC playing catch up.
Yeah.
And it just comes across as a pathetic imitation. Whereas The Flash probably came out before Quicksilver. chronologically in the comic book world.
Well, sure.
DC, if they knew what the hell they were doing, they would have released that movie years ago, and they would have been the first one to do the cool, slow down,
Yeah.
super fast sequence.
But they didn't.
They did not. But yeah, X-Men Days of Future Past, that scene where Quicksilver is doing his thing with like all the guys in that silo when they're getting Magneto out.
Yep.
Very cool scene.
That was good song too.
Yeah. But
And-
it looked cool. It was different. Now
Yes.
everything, it just comes across as a pale
and like
imitation.
the humor in those scenes worked better as well because it's subtle. Quicksilver's like bouncing around doing a couple things, then he moves a couple things out of the way and wraps some people up, and then he's like, "Oh wait, what is this?" This like it's so over the top,
Dude,
the silliness of it.
the humor in this movie was just as annoying as his character.
It was awful.
Yeah, the movie is a comedy. It was just so fucking jokey. It didn't take itself seriously.
No.
And like, I'm not saying that it needed to take itself seriously. You can do a movie where it doesn't take itself seriously, but it doesn't feel like it's written by a moron.
It probably should have taken itself more seriously, considering the gravity of the situation he was in. He goes back in time, he changes everything, and I guess Future Barry in his time was this little bitch, total beta cuck. He goes back in time. He's a little more confident when he meets younger Barry, and younger Barry is the cheese slipped off his cracker or something. He was just stupid.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, he's 18, but he was acting in a manner where I would expect that kind of behavior more from like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay, levels of maturity, whatever. But he was so stupid and goofy. By comparison, Future Barry came off much more serious in comparison. And that's,
Yeah.
and then they bring in the younger Barry, and it's just like, okay, I'm so checked out of this. You got two of these idiots now, and they're just unbearable. Imagine this same movie, but they cast someone not annoying to play Barry Allen.
Well, yes.
I'm not saying it would make it a good movie.
It would have definitely
but
made it better.
It would have been more tolerable
Yes.
to sit through and actually maybe connect with the character a little more and the character's pain. But I didn't feel a damn thing for Barry in this.
But the main problem though is the script.
Oh
And
yeah.
What can you expect from the same person that wrote fucking Birds of Prey, which until this movie came out was the worst DC movie. Mm-hmm. Now I think that this movie is going to have a lot of mixed reactions. I don't think anyone's going to hate it as much as like I or you hated it necessarily. I fucking hated it.
Yeah.
So me saying that it was worse than Birds of Prey might be a stretch, but I don't know. I feel like Birds of Prey is probably a shorter film, so I might want to watch that over this movie.
I think people who just really like the character of Barry Allen will let some of the Ezra stuff slide.
No, I feel like if people, it's like
people
if you
have
like
said that
if
to
you
me.
if you like Batman, you're gonna let things slide, and I think that's what they're really banking on. If you like Batman,
but
you're gonna let things slide.
I disagree with that. You can love Barry and then look at the actor who's playing the character and be like, what the fuck? Like, really? This is who you cast? I have no desire to ever watch that again. I mean, there were like other little things too that just rounded out how bad it was. Like Iris. Like I remember Iris from the show, and she was good. In this, I didn't give a shit about her at all. They don't even really get into their relationship at all because Barry spends 90% of the movie in another parallel universe or whatever.
Well, also it threw me off when Iris showed up because then I was like, oh, he's not gay.
Yeah, right.
Like it was
you just
so
kind
weird.
of,
Like I just
had this feeling.
I just
that Barry is.
I came to the conclusion already in my head.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gay. And
Right,
like then she shows up, and I'm like, oh.
And then she
they're trying to
asks-
make it that he's like having a straight interest with
Yeah,
this
then
person.
she asks him out, and Barry's like, oh yeah, we'll do a dinner date. And you're like, oh yeah. I wouldn't have just assumed that based on the portrayal of this character.
You know, Ezra Miller is non-binary. What's a non-binary person doing playing a straight white male?
Yeah, that's not Ezra's lived experience.
That's like kind of like appropriation, isn't
A little
it?
bit. Yeah, they should have.
I was really taken. I was offended by that.
You were triggered?
I was very triggered.
Yeah.
This movie is like how modern movies are made, which just feels like it's made by someone who has ADHD.
Yeah,
and
they can't focus on one thread.
No,
they have to like you focus on one thread and you tell that one thread really well.
Yeah.
And you put everything into it.
Yes.
They're like, no, we got to cram in this over here, and this over here, and this over here, and this over here. And before you realize, there's so much shit going on. Like, you can't, as an audience member, focus on one thing long enough to care about it.
Yeah, you don't give a shit.
Right. They pull the whole, like, oh, it turns out that evil thing you see for 5 seconds earlier in the film is actually just younger Barry just on an endless time loop trying to save things. And it's like, this is what happens if you don't just let shit go and realize you can't change things. You got to live with your pain, and then you get the lesson, and it's like, ugh.
Well, and then at the end, he has that scene where he finally has to let go of his mom and say goodbye to his mom for good. And the scene itself is actually pretty decent, but because of all the shit you've seen before, it doesn't have the weight that
it doesn't
should.
have the same impact it should if that was the whole focus of the film.
Yeah, again, we need to have an emotional moment. They just throw it out there, but it doesn't stick.
Yes, it was a very forced emotional moment.
Yes, even if it was executed well.
Yeah.
That's the most toned down I think he is in the whole movie, in that scene.
Yeah,
and he's actually not that
that's
bad.
all you need to capture the audience. Okay, there's also some other annoying shit in this movie, but before we get to that, we should do our regular just ranking of the film. I really want to hear your ranking, knowing how much you hate it. I want to hear if it's going to be lower or higher than Ant-Man 3.
What did I give Ant-Man 3?
Somewhere in the
I think I gave it a 4. Yeah.
Range.
Well, you know what? That's what this fucking movie's getting. This movie's getting a 4. Now, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. You know, it's not like we're watching The Room or something.
You are lying. I never hit you. You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
Which I would fucking rather watch that than this.
I'd watch The Room in a heartbeat over that again.
Yeah. For 2 years or whatever since they announced Keaton, they've been dangling that in front of your face like a little carrot. You know, now that it's here and you see it, you're like, oh.
They took too much of Keaton and put him in the trailer. They should have teased one shot of him and people would have been like, oh my God, I'm gonna go see this movie. Then everything, like, there were so many moments in this movie where you're like, oh, there's that moment from the trailer. Oh, there's that moment from the trailer. There's a moment, you know. You've seen all the moments that Keaton has in the movie already. For the most part.
All the money moments with Keaton you've seen, like, they're all in the trailer.
It's catch lines, you know, like, they're in all the various trailers.
Yeah.
You gotta hide that stuff. I'm with you. I'm going 4 on this as well. You know, 5 would be like, yeah, that was okay. This is below that. It's not okay.
This is DC's Quantum Mania.
Would you rather watch this or Quantum Mania?
Oh.
I mean, Quantum Mania literally had nothing going for it.
What?
I'd rather watch this because I can see Keaton again.
Yeah, you can see Keaton again. Now, I know you jotted down some notes about some just silly shit.
I definitely did detect some commie bullshit in this.
Especially with right in the beginning with Batfleck.
Yeah, there's a little stupid fucking scene where Batman gets the lasso of truth around him, which is lame because they already did this joke in Justice League theatrical cut with Aquaman's doing it instead of Bruce Wayne. Yeah. But anyways, the lasso of truth is around Batman, and he says this stupid line where he's like, oh, maybe I can truly end crime by ending poverty. Yeah.
Maybe if I just donate all my money.
Maybe if I just donate all my money, I could end crime by ending poverty. Commie bullshit.
The lasso of Marx.
The lasso of Marx was around Bruce Wayne. But, I mean,
there actually wasn't a ton.
To be fair, there's some like diversity bullshit in it, but it wasn't overtly woke, at least.
Not really.
Except for that. That line was annoying.
There weren't really many lines like that. It was just this overall feeling of the modern male.
Yeah.
Across the film. Right? Like every dude in this movie.
Except for the Batman.
Except the Batman.
Yeah.
Every other dude in this movie just...
fucking beta.
Just beta as you can possibly get.
Yeah. Painfully beta.
Painfully beta.
Yeah.
from Barry's coworkers, roommates, baristas, everybody.
Every guy in this looked like they experimented with penis in college. Every single guy.
And might still be experimenting.
Bunch of slap-jawed.
Probably still experimenting with penis.
I mean, it culminates in Iris having to ask Barry out at the end for dinner.
And he's
because
like,
Barry doesn't have the balls to do it.
He's like on the verge of either crying or coming his pants
You
the entire
can't
time
tell.
he's talking to her.
You can't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, dude, fucking nut up.
You can't say that anymore. You can't. That's toxic if you say man up.
Man up.
Every single guy in this
can't
movie.
say that anymore?
I don't think so. That's like a. I
You can't say man up anymore?
I don't think so.
You can't say nut up?
That's like the same thing.
All right.
But yes, all of them needed to nut up. They needed to grow some balls. Everyone in this film is drinking some sort of soy product.
Yeah,
Copious amounts of soy.
right. All right, so rainbow scale. This was kind of a tough one because there were like only a couple lines that kind of hit on some of this shit. But that overall feeling of like just every dude being a beta across this movie, I'm gonna go 3.5 rainbows. That's where I am.
I was going to say 3.
3. Okay, so
Yeah.
we're close.
Yeah, we are close.
We're close.
But you're right though.
There's just that subtle feeling you get watching this movie. Like, God, I feel like I want to go put some ABBA on.
Yeah.
Like it's making me think weird things about dudes.